Hi everyone, it's great to be back with another episode of the Let's Talk Success podcast, and it's great to have you all back here. I'm sure we're diving into some really interesting topics today that all of you will enjoy. But before we do, I want to introduce myself. My name is Sara Riola, and I'm the marketing coordinator here at Goa, and I'll be your host for today. And we're diving into a story that illustrates really well what it means to grow with vision, resilience, and smart financing. But before we do, just a quick reminder that this is a space powered by Goba Capital, where we basically invite business leaders and guest speakers to share with all of you real stories on business growth. So let's welcome our guest speaker for today. His name is Alejandro Gómez, and he's the Director of International Markets at MIC, which is a leading Colombian name in children's clothing apparel. And I want to clarify that MIC is not a client of Goa, but they have used in the past the type of working capital solutions that we offer to fuel business growth. And their story is one we definitely believe others in the industry can learn a lot from. So, welcome, Alejandro, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Hello, Sarah. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Alejandro, the pleasure is ours, and please take the stage away. We want to know a bit about yourself and your role at MIC.
Well, Sarah, as you mentioned, I'm the International Markets Director for the company. I've been working for MIC for about 5 years now, a little bit over that. My role is basically making sure that we're always looking for new frontiers, especially in Latin America and the Americas overall. My role at the company is when a new market is identified, I basically go in with my team and try to figure out a strategy for how to enter the market, the possibilities, the competition, where we want to position our brand in this new territory, as well as manage all of the existing territories that we're in currently and try to find new opportunities and new customers abroad.
Thank you for that introduction, Alejandro. Now, let's give our audience some more context on the company itself. Can you share with us what's the origin story for MIC? How did the company begin? And basically, what inspired the company's focus?
Mixed started as a family business around 33 years ago in Medellin, in Colombia. We started basically doing full package solutions uh, for exports. There was a big focus in the 90s from American companies to manufacture their clothing goods in different territories or abroad. And one of these options was Colombia, which eventually positioned itself as an important player in the denim world, and that's how the company started. The company started with an ambition to be a great manufacturer for the U.S. in clothing garments, in knitwear, um, with fabrics, basically 100% cotton fabrics, and the quality that represents this country. However, that focus quickly shifted to Asia, and American companies moved to Asia, developed that market, and we ended up with a whole lot of machinery and no clients to manufacture for. So the idea was to figure out a solution. Our solution was to start manufacturing goods for private label in department stores in Colombia, and it started evolving from that to our own brand, MIC, and then eventually we evolved to our own operated stores with our own brand and licensing and everything that the brand is now. But it basically started as a full package solution, and now it's evolved to a company that sells with a ton of licensing partners and its own brand in several countries in the region.
Thank you for sharing this. It sounds like the company had some challenges early on, but adapted really well to the market changes. And I think it's always interesting to hear about a company's origins and how those early on decisions shape the company over time, which basically leads to my next question. Can you tell us more about how the brand portfolio evolved over time? Was that growth part of a long term strategy, or was it something that happened more organically?
I think that there wasn't really a plan. The plan was basically making the company successful and having something to live with. And the evolution was quite organic. We started manufacturing garments for women, especially pajamas. And again, there was really no long term plan. It was more about uh, just being alive the next day and trying to to make it a company. And it started evolving over time with opportunities in the market that we encountered or saw. And it evolved from women's wear, again, private label, to children's apparel, then from private label to our own brands. And it started growing. And then as our distribution grew, from 2020 onwards, we started reaching different countries with different weather, different customs, different preferences. The portfolio of products that we offer has evolved with it. Um, we're now, as an example, doing and very focused on manufacturing bottoms. So everything from shorts in woven fabrics, pants, joggers, cargo pants, skirts for women, um, jackets for cold weather now in Chile, in the Andean region in Ecuador, here in Colombia, in the capital. And it's been an organic growth of portfolio and of product mix, uh, adapting to the different customers that we serve.
You make a really interesting point, Alejandro, and I think from our experience with companies that come to us, we've come to realize that growth is never just about following the plan. It's always a mix of planning and unexpected opportunities that arise when you least expect them. And that's why it's so important for companies to stay ahead and be prepared for the unexpected, whether that means large purchase order that requires immediate liquidity, opening of a new market to stay ahead of the competition, or even sudden shifts in your demand. Those moments are the ones that test resilience, but they also highlight the importance of standing out. And standing out means being different, which leads me to my next question, and it is, what makes Mick different in such a competitive industry?
Definitely two things. There are two key factors that have allowed us to differentiate ourselves from the competition, apart from what a company should always be working on. Of course, it's quality and offering a great service and focusing on the customer and offering a great product at a reasonable price. I'd say it's two things. First of all, the great partnerships that we've built with our licensing partners and IP owners. This is Disney, Warner Brothers, Universal Studios, Viz Media, a studio from Japan, Mattel, Hasbro, Sanrio. All of these key players in the licensing industry have definitely made us different from the competition. Our focus in each age group is bringing that kid to life. So if we're selling to toddlers, we're targeting the parents who are buying those licenses or that pop culture fan base, that the series they used to watch on television when they were growing up, the rock bands that they used to listen to or that even their parents used to listen to. Then in MIC, we're basically trying to sell a toy in apparel. We want something that the kid falls in love with and truly makes them feel special. So whenever they're wearing that Iron Man shirt or that Barbie skirt or dress, they feel like the character, and it's something that adds value to their life and makes them feel amazing and makes them feel in the film or in the series or whatnot. And then in movies, which is our brands for adults, we're trying to bring the kid back to life. So people grow, but the stories that they feel identified with and that makes them remember all of those great memories from growing up or again their parents or whatnot. We're trying to put that nostalgia factor in it and make them feel special, make them feel that even if you're, in the most corporate job, uh, serious person or whatever, you can still buy that brick and mortar pajama and get that feeling at home. That's definitely one. And I would say our second biggest differentiating factor is our business model. All of the company works under a demand driven strategy and a pull methodology, all the way from manufacturing and raw materials to the point of sale and the point of contact with the customer. So we want to make sure that the customer is getting the product they want in the moment they want it, and that truly allows us to react with incredible manufacturing speed and very short lead times, again all the way from raw materials to the point of sale. That has allowed us to react in time when a movie does great, or when a certain character or a certain style is excelling in sales. It's because the customer wants it, and because we're not dependent on offshore manufacturing or very long lead times. We're able to have that available for the customer in the time that they want it. Um, that also comes with a consignment methodology for our own stores, the department stores, and the big chain that we work with, and our franchisees, which are key to the company as well. They have allowed us to grow into regions that are difficult to manage, or mm, hard to find, places, stores to open. And these franchisors have truly been amazing with the company. A lot of commitment and great growth has come to them through that consignment model as well. So I would say that our business model and licensing, and the partnerships that we've built, I forgot to mention, as an example, we're a super serve customer for Disney. This means Disney, Marvel, Lucas, Fox Entertainment. So we have exclusive style guides. We have a lot of material to work with, and these partnerships that we've built, and their support are definitely amazing as a differentiating factor.
Thank you, Alejandro, and I have to agree with you. I mean, I don't have my Rick and Morty PJs, but I do have cartoon PJs in my closet. Um, but no, jokes aside, I think it's impressive to hear about all the licenses that Mick has achieved, and the brand has definitely left an incredible trail in this sense. I think that being different is one of the most difficult things for any company to achieve, but it is crystal clear that Mick has done so successfully. Now, being different is one of the most crucial aspects to any business, but so is the operational and financial side of it. So, I want to dive deeper into these two topics, and I want to ask you, as Mix started to expand into new markets and to scale operations, what were some of the biggest financial and operational challenges that the company faced?
Definitely several. um, Definitely several, and I would say, as with everything, there's an upside and a downside. I mean, the biggest share by far of our revenue comes from our own operated stores and our franchisees. This, of course, is great because we're not dependent on, purchasing budgets from department stores or distributors' budget, or we're not competing with anyone else, and it allows us to manage and create our own demand by the opening of these new stores. That's the upside. The downside, however, is the capital requirement. Our business is capital intensive, in the sense that each new store opening requires a considerate investment, and especially when we're trying to do it at this scale and across borders. So this is the challenge that we face constantly. Apart from the availability of excellent retail locations and places that are interesting for us to, or new markets that are interesting for us to be in, um, it's difficult to finance the whole operation. So I'd say that's the biggest challenge when trying to scale and to cross borders in terms of our finances and the capital requirements, again, to open new stores and to finance the inventory for our consignment model. Um, that's why we have great partners that that are there available for us as well to finance the whole operation. And I'd say operational challenge is one of those things that you have and you don't, because the challenge is always going to be there. I think that we found that there's always opportunity to be better, to progress, to structure, to improve. And this is something that we're working on constantly. So even if you go as far as, projecting your team 5 years from now and what the growth of the company will be and how we're going to manage all of this growth and your departments and whatnot, you're still finding opportunities uh, to be more proactive, to be more efficient, to improve in every sense of the word. So um, it's more of the financial challenge to be able to scale with such high capital requirements.
Thank you, Alejandro. I think you captured really well the other side of growth, which is basically that opportunity inevitably comes with complexity. And being prepared for that complexity is what allows companies to move forward instead of getting stuck during growth stages. Now, you've mentioned in past conversations that Mick has used factoring or similar financial solutions to manage cash flow internally. Can you share with us how these tools played a role in your expansion and what kind of impact they had?
Factoring, I think it's one of the reasons that propelled our growth. I mentioned before that one of the biggest advantages that we have is our business model, and that consignment model came from the use of a lot of factoring before. Because when we used to sell to department stores, as a definite sale, as a final sale, we depended on those budgets and we were financing our customers to 90, 120, even 180 days. And that limited our growth because, again, I've mentioned several times that our business is capital intensive and our growth model requires investment, both on the front and on the back. So, in the opening of new stores and financing the raw materials and fabrics and everything else behind the operation. Uh, and factoring is a tool that allowed us to have that cash in hand before the invoice expired or terms were agreed in again the 90, 120, 180 days time. We were able to get that cash before that, and it's what allowed us to keep building more manufacturing capacity and opening new stores to not depend on this. And the problem you had is that um, even if something was selling really really well, you wouldn't have that frequent of reorders because let's say we were working with the children's department and this department had a fixed budget for the quarter or for the semester, and they bought shares of each of their suppliers. And if something was selling really well, but something else wasn't, maybe from a competitor or from a different company in the same department, they didn't have any budget to replenish your sold out inventory. And again, factoring is what allowed us to build that capital ahead of time to be able to finance our shift to the consignment model and being able to tear apart and not depend from these budgets and purchasings and etc. So it was a key driver, especially in the 2010s, a great factor for success and a tool that we used very very frequently, and especially at that time our department store sales weighed a lot more on the total company's revenue. So it was definitely a great tool. And I wanted to mention another tool that now we use as well quite often, and it's confirming. So what that allows us to do is, in order not to pressure our suppliers as well, because of course we also get some financing from our suppliers, and they are our key partners in this growth strategy. We give them some of our budget in the banks for confirming. And it's basically the same thing as factoring, just the other way around. It's provided by the customer and with the support of their banks to their suppliers. So they're able to get that payment. If we have, I don't know, a 90-day payment negotiation, they're able to get their money in probably less than a week's worth, and be able to finance their growth in order to give us better service and grow in line with us. So this is a point where we truly try to work and grow, uh, to be a better customer for our suppliers and allow them to grow in line with our ambitions and in line with the company.
Thank you, Alejandro. That's a really powerful example of how financial decisions or tools like factoring and confirming can shape not just cash flow but also the ability to scale and build stronger partnerships along the way. And it shows that finance isn't just about keeping the lights on, but it's about fueling growth and creating flexibility and peace of mind for companies that are scaling. And that leads to my next question. I want to know from a leadership perspective, how do you approach financial decision making during periods of rapid growth?
It's a key driver, I'd say. It's a key driver because decisions have to be taken or made driven by the numbers, and the finances are what gives you either the ability or the restriction to grow. Every decision that we make every day to enter a new market or to expand to a new country, etc., open a new store, has to be driven first by its financial feasibility. Uh, so it's always there. The financial team is involved in all of the decisions, and I'd say it's key because you can do everything well, but if the numbers don't add up, they don't add up. And um, if you're trying to push that too much, it may work in the beginning, but it's going to come out soon enough. So definitely guiding decisions, not solely, but heavily by the numbers and the financial health of the company. It's what guarantees that the company is going to be around for a long time, and that it's going to have healthy and sustainable growth through time.
That's a really strong point, and definitely financial decision making is one of the hardest, but also one of the most important parts of leading a company. And the choices leaders make around capital often shape not just growth, but in the long term resilience. Now, I want to dive a bit more into trends and advice. Can you tell us what advice would you give to business owners in the apparel or retail industries who are preparing to scale and might be exploring external financing for the first time?
Sarah, to use it, I'd say to use it because um, it, the tools and the partners like Goa are there. It's not only banks, it's not only traditional banking institutions, but great financial service providers that are there, available, and ready to help you grow and to structure a long-term growth strategy. And I feel that sometimes companies limit themselves either to self-funding, which of course limits growth immensely, especially in our industry. We're not talking about net margins of 100 or 80% or whatever. Um, and even when some decide to use it, especially in our markets in Latin America, it is quite restricted. And the fears are still there, and sometimes this sense of partnership is lacking, and the people that do use it sometimes may limit themselves only to traditional banking institutions. And I'd say that there's a whole world out there of opportunities and possibilities with non-traditional banking institutions such as Goba, um, where you can find a partner and an ally who's going to help you out and structure this long term strategy. And we're missing out on a lot of great companies growing faster and growing better because of the lack of taking advantage of these opportunities. I'd say that it's key as well, especially in our industry and the specific product that we sell because of the seasonality. Our revenue is quite seasonal, and if you want to prepare yourself to have a good end of year, which is of course our highest selling moment, you need that working capital to prepare well and to grow and to have the right product at the right time and uh, to use it. I'd encourage people to use it and explore these opportunities because they're there.
Thank you, Alejandro. That's really helpful advice. But I have to ask you, are you sure you work at Mic and not at Goa?
It sounds like I'm working at Gola now. Really? No, and I'd say it with the full intention because we've been sort of designed to think that the limit is traditional banking, but it's truly not. And not only for working capital, but structured debt as well. Um, Structured debt in our industry is not that common, especially in Colombia. If you want to build a new warehouse, there are financial service partners which will help you evaluate the project, work out a long-term plan on how you're going to finance that debt, and it can be different from your traditional banking and your leasings or leases or whatever. Um, and I feel that there's a lot to be done in our industry with non-traditional banking. I believe in it because again, financing a growth opportunity abroad. Hey, we have this plan to open Peru. This is what we're going to do. These are our cash flows. This is our experience. This is the product that we're going to offer. This is everything. And there are partners out there who will help you finance the operation and walk alongside you in the expansion process. And I feel that we just don't use it enough.
Thank you.
And
I'm sure.
again, I'm trying not to work for Goba.
It doesn't seem like it, but thank you. I'm sure listeners will find this very valuable, especially companies who aspire to be like Mick someday. And now I want to zoom out a little bit and I want to know what trends are you seeing in the global retail and apparel space, particularly in children's wear, that businesses should really be paying attention to at the moment.
Quality, Sarah, definitely quality. It's become a bit of a price war in the children's apparel here in Latin America. We're trying to, or the industry's trying to lower cost and offer the same product at a lower cost, of course, sacrificing quality. And I think we cannot forget that a lot of the people that are buying our garments and our styles, it's not only for them to wear, but also for their brother or their younger sister or etc. etc. And um, a product should last. It shouldn't last your lifetime, but it should last enough, and it should be comfortable to wear, and it should be worth your money. So um, we're focusing a lot on quality, offering better and better quality as much as we can. And definitely licensing. I mean, it's a cornerstone in our philosophy and in our business model, and we're getting more and more content every day and more characters that children love. So this is a big space, and it's what we're focusing on. And I think there's a lot to do.
That basically leads to my next question. Can you tell us what's next for Meek? Are there any exciting markets, products, initiatives on the horizon that you can share with us?
We're always working on exciting projects. um, I'd say the biggest of them now is we're opening Chile this year, as well as Peru. Mm, that's going to be very, very big for the company. We have a couple of stores there now, but we're planning on sort of pushing that expansion and following our strategy, which is to reach the country and to have a holistic distribution network. So we're not only looking at Santiago, but we're looking at Antofagasta and Punta Arenas and Concepcion and all of the different provinces and cities inside the country to be able to bring our product to everyone. That's definitely very exciting, and we have interesting initiatives as well with our personnel, both in Colombia and abroad. Um, our company or the manufacturing industry in general is quite intensive in labor, and we try to give as much dignity, benefits, and well-rounded help to the people that work alongside us in these initiatives and in these exciting projects. So not only allowing them to grow as professionals, but also personally and with their families and children and the space that surrounds them. Um, I've been sort of hooked on this quote of trying to irrigate well-being, and that's sort of a personal mission of mine, where everything I do or the company does or whatever we're doing again in Uruguay or in Venezuela or in Guatemala or in Colombia irrigates well-being beyond the company's limit. So not only inside with the people who are working alongside us, um, but also in our stores and to our customers and to their families and to the space that surrounds our stores and in our manufacturing facilities and to our suppliers. So that's pretty big for me now, and I hope it is for the rest of my career and my life. Trying to irrigate well-being as much as possible. So that's definitely exciting, and Chile and Peru is exciting as well. That would be the seventh country where we're operating directly with our own subsidiaries in the country. So definitely very exciting and a lot of work. Don't have time to work for Goba now.
And a lot of traveling too.
And a lot of traveling.
Sounds
Yeah,
like you're gonna be traveling. Are
a lot
you
of
ready?
traveling. I'm ready and I love it for now. I'm still hooked on the traveling. That's one of uh, I'd say my one of my greatest employee benefits is getting to work with people from all around the world each day. So on a single day, I may be, with working with the U.S. and then in a meeting with people from Ecuador and then with the Caribbean or licensing in Argentina or whatnot, and the differences in culture, in the way that people behave, in the way that these meetings work, and with the traveling, the different costumes, the different foods. I'd say that's my greatest benefit. I love it.
Really rewarding for sure.
It is.
Thank you for sharing all of that with us, and I definitely wish Mick the very best as you step into these new initiatives. Um, Now, kind of to close, I'd love to give you the chance to share any final thought or reflection for our listeners from your journey.
Not much. I say again, I'm working each and every day to try to irrigate well-being in my personal life, in my professional life, and hopefully beyond the borders of the company, and to have fun and enjoy. We cannot be consumed by the day-to-day tasks and whatever we need to get done, but try to enjoy what we're doing, and and if you're not enjoying it right now, try to figure a way to do so, or be passionate about whatever you're doing, because if you are, you're going to do it well. And I feel that sometimes we try to do it well and then be passionate about it, and I feel that that's not how it works. So have fun, enjoy, and try to irrigate well-being, and go a little bit of above and beyond what just on the professional matters are. I think that's it. And again, thank you very much for the space. It was great talking to you. Some very interesting reflections for myself as well from the conversation.
No, Alejandro, thank you for your time and for sharing Mick's story. It's very inspiring. And I think it's a great reminder that growth isn't just about meeting demand, but it's also about building the right foundation, aligning timing, and having the structures to support long term success. And again, to our listeners, while Mick is not a client of Goa Capital, their journey reflects the kind of results that can be achieved when companies have access to flexible, well structured solutions like the ones we offer. And to our listeners as well, thank you for joining us. If you're in fashion, retail, or consumer goods and are looking to take your business to the next level, we would love to have a conversation with you. And don't forget to explore MIC, which is an inspiring example of how creative vision and operational excellence can set a brand apart. And definitely go visit their website, discover their collections, and follow their journey as they grow and expand into new countries and markets. And this has been it for today. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and we really hope to see you back on the next one.
Thank you.